This is said burrito bag. I'm pretty stoked because it's pink and green and blue. It pretty much matches what I'm wearing. And my nails match my water bottle.
So this is an example of the burrito bag we'll be making today. We'll be making it in some different colors. It's a really nifty little bag to have, especially if you're riding gravel or you plan to bring a little bit more than you can fit in your pockets for the day. So let's jump in. So the first thing I did was I cut 2 separate pieces for the ends of the burrito bag, and this will be essentially the body of the burrito bag. So like this. The next pieces I have are a zipper and some webbing. The 3 things you really need to start this are zippers, some cordura, and the pattern, which I provided for you at the start of the video. This is the right side of my fabric. This is the wrong side of my fabric, which you can kind of tell by this waterproofing coating. This is the right side of the zipper. This is the wrong side of the zipper. So I'm basically gonna face the wrong side of the zipper on the right side of the fabric. And because this zipper actually extends beyond the length of the fabric, I'm gonna need to hack away at some of the teeth later on using some pliers and some scissors, but that's not a big deal. It's pretty normal zipper shortening procedure for those who haven't done it. So now you'll see if I were to stitch this on, it would be on the right side of the fabric. Next up, we pretty much just need to put the zipper to the right side of the fabric. So what we're gonna do here is kind of figure out how we need to pin it. So what I do as a trick is just flip it under, pin really quick, and then flip it all inside out. So I'm gonna go ahead and pin this, and that is pretty much the right side to the right side of the zipper. I'm gonna go ahead and do that and start stitching again. So I just wanna give you a rundown of what happened. So we basically sewed one side of the zipper, and then we flipped the fabric over on itself, as you can tell, and sewed the other side of the zipper. So I'm going to sew right along the edge, and I can make it decorative or not. I'm gonna make some cool contrasting lines here with my thread. So I went ahead and top stitched the first side of the zipper. I'm gonna show you how I do the second side. So here's what the top stitching looks like. I accidentally used a different spacing here with my presser foot than my other side, but in theory, you would not mess this up like I did. So the next thing we are going to do is measure about 2.5 inches up from the middle of your zipper, and we're gonna mark that off because that's where we are going to put the webbing. Okay, so now we can go ahead and use this as a guide to cut and pin some of our webbing. So I am just going to pin this in place. I've attached my webbing. I'm now marking off sections I'll be sewing in so that I will have options for attaching the actual burrito bag to the bike when I add Velcro through. This is what the webbing looks like connected to the front side of the burrito bag. And if you want to see what the button stitching looks like, you're just using one of the 4 sides of the button stitching, and it creates these really fast movements here, which creates this like very durable stitch. And that is what we are going to loop Velcro through to actually attach the burrito bag to the bike too. So it's a great little stitch, and it comes on a lot of home sewing machines. So the next thing we're gonna do is find that halfway point between here and the back. So I'm just gonna mark that off really quick. It's like about here, and I want that to be 4.5 inches in. It's pretty spot on, because that's halfway through the 9 inches. And this is where I'm going to be attaching an additional tab of webbing so that we can loop some Velcro through here if needed to attach to the front of the bike. Now, to prevent this from fraying, I'm going to light it on fire. This will melt the edge of the nylon webbing, and I'm sure you're familiar with this. If you cut your helmet straps, it helps them from fraying as well. Just make sure it's tacky, I don't burn myself on it, and we'll do the other side as well. I now have the last bit of webbing attached to the bag, and I'm pretty excited about this bag. I like the colors, and now we have to do the worst task ever, and that's attaching the ends of the burrito bag and removing the last parts of the zipper. So as you can see here, we're actually gonna sew over this bit. So this zipper can't stay here because the sewing machine cannot go over this zipper. We'll actually be sewing with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, or actually about 10 millimeters. So that means I will need to be sewing up to here. So I'm gonna mark that, and that's how and where I'll need to be removing the teeth from the zipper. Like I said earlier, if you were going to go with a zipper that was actually 8 inches long, you wouldn't have to do this, but I have to do it, and it's an actually horrible process. So let's give it a go. Because this is an acrylic zipper, I'm going to see if I can just cut through it with brute strength without cutting anything I don't want to cut or chopping a finger off. I went ahead and pinned the circle end all the way around the barrel body with right side to right side. So just to show you an example, this side I already sewed. So when you turn it inside out, you should see it look like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew this. It's kind of really annoying to do, so bear with me. This is what the burrito bag is looking like. So I just finished sewing that last end. What I'm gonna do is trim this excess here. Done, what I'm gonna do is trim it, and this is that scary thing where you could end up cutting through the part of the fabric that you're not supposed to. Basically, I just took 2 different pieces of Velcro, the soft side and the side with the teeth, and sewed them together in a zigzag stitch. It's kind of hard to see here. It works if you can't find double-sided Velcro. So the idea behind it is that if you wrap it on itself, it'll stick. Now comes the part where you would want to measure how the Velcro actually fits on your bike. I'd wrap it around your handlebars and then make a cut because you have one big piece of Velcro. But yeah, it's cool. It's basically like a pencil case for your bike. and packs down and is waterproof because of Cordura. And you could bunch it up and put in your pockets, super tiny, with at least this Cordura fabric. I will go ahead and link some of the fabrics that I used down below and give you some explicit names. But of course, as per usual, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, just because that's how more videos like this get made.